Welcome one, welcome all to episode 233 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, July 6th, 2024. I'm your host, Luke Lohr, the Insipid Ghost. Our intrepid Captain Logan is on vacation this weekend to celebrate his birthday, so we are privileged, mostly, to be joined by one Joseph Moran of the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast. Hello, sir.
Hi, I hope my mic is sounding good, as it took 5 minutes to get this sorted. And apparently, y'all, if you look at the video version, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I want this out so everybody knows it.
Yes.
Apparently, this headset makes me look like a giant penis.
It's very phallic.
Thank you. It's very phallic. And I hate to agree. And now I love these headphones, but now I need new ones. Yeah, I need new ones.
Do you have like a beanie you can put on, or?
I think no, it would make me look
bizarre,
circumcised.
Joe, on so many levels.
It's-
What is going on with? Are those PlayStation ones?
These are the PlayStation ones. Again, I love them, but now that you guys tell me I look,
design.
There's never
Yeah.
been a better ad for the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset that they
I have
sent
a
to
pair
me for the
too, Luke.
Xbox expansion. Yeah, look at that.
Somebody
SteelSeries
clip that.
for the win.
Shout
yeah,
out.
Steel
That's
Series, do
as
your
well.
boy a favor over here.
Joseph Moran could
He
use a
needs
headset.
yeah.
Good. Oh man, I couldn't even get through the intro. I love it. We are also joined by members of the Nerd Chat, Sans Bacon. We have one Daddy D Wally with us. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you as well. Also, we're missing Bubba Boy and Seven. Came in a little late there. Don't worry, can't be here as well. I offered the invitation for you to him because he's not in our chat. So shout out to Bubba Boy and Bacon. We wish you guys were here, but they have real jobs. And I guess Bacon.
We have real jobs as well.
Well, you know what I mean.
It's
They have
true.
jobs that require them to work the weekends. So shout out to them. Thank you, Luke, for having us.
Absolutely. And of course, I welcome one Chipotle Bear from the Nerd Chat as well. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Luke. Thanks for having us here, man. It's beautiful Saturday noon out here in Colorado. It's like 90 degrees. I don't know what temps are in Jersey and North Carolina, but it's hot out here. Let me tell you.
107.
Oh my!
Feels like 107 here.
Wow.
Oh, cool. Global warming is
Yeah, it's a myth. I will say to anybody that's watching live with us right now over on Twitter or on YouTube, thank you guys for being here. I know we're not at our typical time, but I wanted to accommodate and get these fine people in while Logan celebrates his birthday. So I'll ask you to click the like button, share. I see Spartan451 in chat. Of course, X Bacon Gaming and Nisa Hauer in chat as well. Good to see you guys. It's been a light week, I think is fair to say. Right, we celebrated American Independence Day, which Joe really loves. It's his favorite holiday for reasons.
Man, I love it so much. We got to party hard, extra hard this year since it's the last one, probably. Really, just so excited about it, honestly.
I will say it was a quiet week, but the memes have been good. It was a quiet week in the gaming space, which might be a good thing, I suppose. I think it's always good for
it means we get to play games. That's what it means.
Exactly. I think it's always good for people to collectively catch their breath. PR's not on overdrive. No one's drastically doing stuff. Joe's pointing to something, but I can't quite tell what it is. Balatro. Yeah, you said you've been playing a lot of that.
60 hours.
Man,
How many runs have you finished, Joe?
Countless.
I thought it was a card game.
It is.
It is.
Just you can finish them.
Yeah.
It's a poker roguelite, and I hate poker. And that should tell you how good
clearly
this game
you
is.
don't. I think you like.
I
poker now.
learned poker as well through this game.
Joe, is that an OLED behind you? You're just leaving
Of
that
course.
static image on that whole time?
No. There's things moving.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate the concern there as well.
Yeah,
Gotta appreciate it. He's doing it for the show. It's for content creation. You got to respect it. Right off the bat, X Bacon Gaming
Shout out.
$4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. 3 out of my 4 favorite creators in one place. Hint, I don't like. Hint, the one I don't like sounds like is Joe. Have a greatest show, guys. Thank you very much.
Shout out.
Thanks, Bacon.
Bacon, is
you're
that
the
the
man.
fee that Luke told you had to pay for us to appear? Is that what it was?
It's called the friendship fee, Dan. We talked about this.
Yep.
I appreciate it greatly. Thank you for the super chat, good sir. And I get it, Joe's something, but I do appreciate that when we logged on, guys. Just a little behind the scenes. As soon as Joe jumped in, immediately I watched. Yeah, with the headset, Dan and Jose were both like, and they like straight faced, poker faced it up, and I was like, no. I'm not poker face thing, and I told him right away.
Yeah. I'm not proud of it. How much is one of the marked?
These are not cheap. These are not cheap.
All right.
They are not cheap, but you can get a good Arctis.
Arctic 7, 120 or less sometimes on Amazon. Or buy an open box.
I got
the 7.
Arctis, and I love real talk. I love the Arctis.
They're great.
The old one's just I forget what was going. Maybe like the headband or something.
The headband, Joe. I'm right there with you. I'm telling you, these work well though. I was concerned. Same thing with this stupid thing, but it works now. I don't know if they adjusted because we've got these adjustments or they just changed something slightly about it. Highly recommended. Steel Series. If you want to send us or Joe and I, any of your headsets, please feel free. Shout out.
I'll hook you up, guys. Remind me, and I'll send you the PR contact because they do great work. Steel Series, but yes, they sent me this headset, but I've been using Steel Series for 5 years, and I would not go back. I use their stuff, my mouse, everything at work. Wow. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I love Steel Series stuff. It's great. Addy Dotune in the chat. Web Dave is here. Guys, it's been a quiet week, and we've got plenty of time to talk about what we've been playing. We've got some news stuff, a lot of Game Pass talk. But before we do that, I like to give words of kindness. And if you don't mind, I want to give a shout out to one Sean Lavery for the second week in a row because he sent me the graphic stuff. You can see kind of in the background. Normally it's just two of us with Logan and I, but you can see the background behind us. He designed that. It says Xbox Expansion Pass. It rotates really well. I'm a big fan of it. And so I just wanted to give him a shout out one more time. He's very talented. And then I also wanted to say happy birthday to Logan, who is doing, he's at the beach or so. I couldn't quite tell where he was going.
Good old
midlife crisis, birthday.
There have been cowboy hats and piercings. He is definitely in a
whoa.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I would rather be wearing this penis-shaped headset right now than the cowboy hat. I'm gonna be honest and open about it. Very few people could pull off a cowboy hat, and Logan, as a friend, it's not you.
I've been watching a lot of Justified, so like the hat's starting to grow on me.
Right? Yep. You want one? I was gonna say. Yep.
Timothy Oliphant. Yeah, but I could never do it. I could never do it.
That'd be your calling card. Like an Xbox cowboy hat right there. First of its kind.
That'd be
I don't even like going outside.
NPC. Next NPC.
I couldn't do it. But Justified's a great show. So I just, wanted to give both Sean and Logan words of kindness there. Daddy D. Wally.
Yeah, I definitely want to second that to words of kindness for Captain Logan. I listened last week, obviously, and he shared a lot. And I just want to say, Logan, we love you, brother. You're an awesome dude. I'm so glad to have met you and podcast with you. And we're all thinking about you. And if you ever need someone to game with eventually when you want to squad up for something, we're here for you, brother. And we love you, Captain Logan. That's who I would like to shout out this week.
I love it. I agree. Jose, how about you, my friend?
I certainly echo the sentiments, Logan. We hope you're having a great birthday, bud. But for my words of kindness, I'm actually going to shout out one of our greatest fans, also a great fan of both your guys' shows as
Nissa
well.
Howard.
I love Nissa too, but this is actually to Matt Valdez. So Matt Valdez sent me a Discord friend request on 4th, which is great. Like happy to connect with the community, and it's been great getting to know everybody, Todd and Nissa and everybody. But he also sent me a gift of Ghost Recon, like just totally out of the blue. And I was floored, man. That was incredible. So huge shout out to Matt Valdez. He's probably going to show up at some point in the show as well. He also like Bacon helped him build the PC and stuff like that. So huge shout out to Matt. Appreciate you, man. And of course, Luke, thank you for having us on today, man. And Joe, thank you for always being our greatest comic relief, bud. We appreciate it.
Love it. Also, let me add on to that, Luke. He sent it to all four of us on our chat. So we're going to squad up. We're going to do some breakpoint action. Probably need to stream that or something, Jose. So shout out. Yeah, absolutely. Matt, thank you so much. Thank you, Nissa, as always. You guys are great.
Very cool. Very cool. I love Matt Valdez. He's one of those people that just when he pops up, good things are happening.
Good dude. Yeah.
Good dude. Yep.
Also, could I give my I'm being genuine this time. My words of kindness?
Yeah.
Other than Logan, again, kindness here. Take off the hat. But also, like, shout out to Nissa because I sent them a email of or DM of desperation a few nights ago because I was in a bad headspace, and they helped me out a great deal to get me started on a better path, as it were. And like, I didn't want it to make it like a session for them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they went over and beyond and made me feel a lot better about going through some stuff. And also, like, shout out to Streamlabs if they ever put out a sensor, bar, because I do feel like I need a sensor. Like, maybe I need the cowboy hat. I can't get over it.
Is it bothering you now that you see it?
I can't unsee it.
You shouldn't have said it, Luke. He's
No, I stand by it. It's funny.
No, yeah, he's right. He's right.
That's good. That's good. Let me tell you something. Like, when you're best friends, you can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's what happens.
He's gonna have a session with Nissa after this now.
Exactly. Long couch.
I'm okay with that. That's cool. Well, guys, sorry, I'm trying to recover from that moment. It's something, but that's what happens when you podcast with friends. Obviously, a lighter news week for sure, which has been great. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's a good time for everybody to, after the run up to all the showcases and the layoffs prior to that, a good chance to just catch our breath is wonderful. We had a few news nuggets pop out both in the Xbox space and outside of it this past week. One of them being the Tokyo Game Show. They announced some of the people that they are working with, and absent from the list was Xbox for the first time in quite a long time. I think it's been 4 or 5 years at this point. And Xbox has been working very hard to make inroads in Japan. It seems like up until the last year. And in the last year, Closing Tango Gameworks, seemingly absent from this year's Tokyo Game Show, surprises me. The caveat being they had an incredible showcase this past summer, and they're going to be at Gamescom plus the Game Awards. The interesting part of all of this is that after pushing, trying to make it in Japan, seemingly backing off, again, that's perception. We don't know if that's the reality. PlayStation will be there for the first time since 2019, which, whether that's coincidental, intentional, conscious, or just kind of how the cards played, I found it interesting and something to talk about. I think a lot of times Xbox content creators try to rationalize and make peace and be happy about whatever the news is they saw. For some reason, after having Tango Gameworks closed, I was like, no, all right, Tokyo Game Show, they're not there. And I wasn't phased beyond that. Had they still had Tango and whatnot, I think maybe it'd be a little bit different, but that was my take. Captain Phallic, I'm sorry, Joe, would you mind taking your go God for it?
That was beautiful. We got to give up the ghosts, man. I feel like there is, outsider looking in through the PlayStation perspective, there is this, this desire for Xbox fans and from just Xbox to try to tap in and to break into this marketplace. And you see them like make some great attempts. Like, they've made plenty of deals with Sega. They've made some pretty cool deals with Capcom, and now like with, Final Fantasy hopefully coming back to Xbox and them partnering up with Square Enix again. You see that they are making strides. And even like, as we say this, Metaphor Refantasia or whatever, I cannot pronounce the second half. That game is made by the Persona devs. It looks really great. For the first time, I'm actually open to trying this game out, and it's on Game Pass day one. So while they're making attempts with Game Pass deals, there's also the realization that maybe this market the juice isn't worth the squeeze or the effort. Like, how many times have they gone back to said well to just get these weird pseudo deals with these publishers that ultimately go nowhere? I think Xbox fans, we have to realize that Xbox isn't the core demographic for the average Japanese consumer, and even that demographic is changing of how they, get content. So, while all that being said, I think we have to really give up the ghosts when we're talking about Xbox, penetrating, helmet, that's it, the Japanese market. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I think all these efforts is more to get JRPGs on the Xbox platform so that Western audiences can go and consume that content. They're not going to go out there and buy Sega, guys. Like, I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's just not happening. And for PlayStation, I think they need to fortify what is already a marketplace that has been hemorrhaged by the success of the Nintendo Switch. So, I think they need to double back on those efforts. It being a Japanese company, it having a presence in Japan, a large one. It's exciting for a PlayStation fan that wants them to get back to their Japanese roots, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I also still, at the same exact time, don't know if that would even give them the effects that they want, per se.
Jose, Dan?
I mean, I agree. I honestly agree with a lot of what Joe said, and that was my thought about not being in Tokyo. Like, it is a little weird because, like, to some degree, you want as much exposure as possible, but at the same time, if they went and showed basically the same things they showed at their own conference, then they didn't really have anything new because they're not ready. Because the rumor is, of course, that Gamescom is just going to be something insane, whatever that is. But if it's not ready, and if they're just going to show the same stuff, one, it's a lot of money and like time and effort for people to like go and do all of that thing to really not have a lot to show. And they honestly risk a lot of bad exposure, right? Because then what happens is you really like, we saw all this stuff. There's nothing new. There's no new trailers. See, Xbox is failing. Like, it just creates this like negative rhetoric. And so it's not that it's positive to skip Tokyo, because that also is going to create some negative rhetoric as well. But it's just a little bit of like, well, like, they're not going to be there. And people are like, okay. You know what I mean? So
wait,
I
got to interrupt right there, Jose. Why is it not okay for Xbox to just stop going when PlayStation hasn't been for so long?
Well, it's not. I'm just saying, like, any group that is gone, that the second that you pull out, like Joe, right? The second you do that, like, it's just not going to look good. And it's not just Xbox. It's just, it could be anyone. Not to ride this joke into the ground.
Oh man!
Like, but it's just it. If any company didn't show up at Tokyo, what if it had been there in the past, the automatic question is like, why? Is something wrong? What's the problem, right? And so they're just saying, like, we're just not going to be there because we're putting our eggs into our own showcase, into Gamescom, and then of course basically release season. Because after Gamescom, we're just hitting like back to back for all these games. So I didn't think it was a big deal. I'm sure people on Twitter probably thought it was a big deal because that's what Twitter does. But you know, I guess I give him credit. If Gamescom goes really well, this will be a genius move, right? If Gamescom doesn't go well, then it's going to look back and be like, why did you waste that exposure a little bit? That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Like, I don't, Luke, like you said, I don't think this is that big of a deal. And Jose, you mentioned, like, what's the return on the investment on that? Like, realistically, has it at all helped Xbox being at Tokyo Game Show for the past however many years?
Well, do you think they're giving up though? That's the bigger question, right? So like, if we're not going to Tokyo, if we cut Tango, are we kind of finally just saying like, maybe the Japanese market is just not our market? Maybe it's just not where we're going to be. Maybe we're kind of conceding that to PlayStation or Nintendo or both or whatever it is. You know, I don't know. I mean, maybe because they have gone for so many of the past years and they've made all this push for Japanese content to try to get the market, and they're only seeing marginal returns. At some point, someone has to be like, we got to do something else. We need another strategy. So,
Joe, I was just going to ask you, like, I think what was more interesting is that PlayStation is going to be back. So what do you think? What do you think that means? Like, what do you think they're going to show, or what their presence is going to be like?
I mean, I assume, I just assume it's them, like, partnership deals with, you know, their partners. They don't have any more Japanese studios outside of Asobi. Unless they you know, have been incubating teams. Also, that like you know, PlayStation has an excellent XDev initiative, so they could be showing off a lot of Japanese indies. That is something that I know that they've been wanting to do and have been putting money into. It also just kind of speaks to PlayStation's ability to be that global publisher that just Microsoft has always struggled for in the past. You know, some of the reasons as to why they're not big in the places that someone's yelling, the places that there usually is because PlayStation does put in the time for like things like localization and all that stuff. So I don't know, it's more them, I think, in an XDev capacity rather than a total official capacity. It also doesn't mean, you know, if I'm a PlayStation fan, this doesn't mean the showcase is happening in Tokyo Game Show. It probably means the cutoff date is, what is it, the 26th or something like that? Like, it has to be somewhere around those times. But yeah, that being said, too, PlayStation has new hardware that they're going to show off. So,
you talking about the Pro?
Yeah,
Is that what you're alluding to? Gotcha. I think when I look at just Xbox's approach, it feels like they are. I don't want to. Maybe the word isn't concede, because if you were never in the fight, are you conceding? But it seems like they are reallocating their resources, and they've got a better chance of finding success in Europe, Gamescom, and here I'm gonna do it, penetrating that market more. Oh wow, I love it. Penetrating that market in a way that
sweet.
Very cool. Hey, Fonz Gaming in the chat. Good to see you, Fonz. I met Fonz in person, by the way, in LA. One of the nicest people around, and I saw him on a podcast just this morning with TKO Asante.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. Great dude.
I'm grabbing a hat. 1 sec.
Oh God, look what you did, dude.
I'm okay with it. Bullying builds character. But as far as like conceding Japan, I don't think they were ever truly there. And it sucks because I really wanted them to be. If you go back to older XEPs, you would be able to comfortably clip my voice saying, I want them to make a bigger indent and inroads into Asian markets. I think they really did try with Korea, with xCloud, and really try to do something special there, but it just wasn't happening.
That's a great point, Luke. They've tried. We cannot deny that Xbox has been trying and been giving, very God.
Oh no.
Great effort. But yeah, I just want to say that Xbox has tried, but maybe it's time. Okay. For audio listeners, Joe he's put on some sort of Final Fantasy hat. It's
it honestly,
I don't know
somehow
if it makes it look better.
I don't think it looks worse.
Yep. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I'd rather have this Stop the Steal hat than
But no, Dan, you were saying that they have tried, and I think this is more like, okay, hey, Asante's here also. That's awesome. I just watched your show this morning, man. You and Fonz crushed it. But they made the effort in Asia, and it just wasn't clicking. And now with the allocation of resources and knowing that those resources have been extended immensely in getting Activision Blizzard, seeing what they've been working and cooking up, and why they had such a great showcase this summer. The theory being they've got a big Gamescom coming, and I'm curious what that actually means. Like, what are you expecting? Like Gears 7 and 8? Like, I don't know, like how much
I think we're getting release dates finally for a lot of stuff.
I think it's release dates as well. I don't think you're seeing I don't think you're seeing new projects. I think you're seeing release dates and information and playable builds, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I think you have a better chance of your resources traveling further by pushing Gamescom and showing COD, showing Avowed, showing Indiana Jones, showing these bigger projects that you've invested in, and trying to sell consoles, move units, make the Xbox brand more comfortably second place than it has been kind of far back in third, right? So I think that's why we're not seeing Tokyo Game Show. All that to say, they were absent from the list, not we're not going. And those are two different statements in and of themselves. But that information that we're extrapolating, I'm okay with them not being there because I just don't think it's paying dividends. That's just...
They got nothing to show. Like, truthful. Like, if it's not... How many times are you going to show off? Yeah, there's nothing there. Like, you remember, God of War is huge in the PlayStation ethos, not nearly as huge as what it is it is not as big in Japan as it is in other places. So that's something we also have to take into consideration, because I know there may be people going, but what about Indiana Jones and what about Avowed and this, that, and the other? Those are Western games with a Western audience in mind, not the Japanese audience in mind. They don't carry the same weight. So, that's something to also consider. You're right. It's all about ROI, and it's just, where would I rather throw my money? A market that I think I can compete better in, or one that I've never competed well in? And so it's like, I'd go after Europe.
It is interesting to me that PlayStation is so far ahead in unit sales and in brand recognition, given that this is not necessarily a great generation for them. I feel like it's been a lighter generation than the PS4. But when I think of my PlayStation, I think good things. Like, I think Spider-Man, I think Ghosts, I think God of War. And those games are, with the exception of Helldivers, years old. And I appreciate like the logic there, but I still have good vibes toward PlayStation. But it feels like when Xbox had that year where they had no first parties, it was different. And I think that's the benefit of market leadership and a higher standard of first party releases. And while I will scream from the mountaintops that Hellblade is amazing, I know that I'm not the majority. And that does bum me out a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
I like how Joe and Kyle, I just was listening to you guys earlier today about how you were mentioning how you thought the PS5 generation is just the extension of the PS4 version. I think that's just a great way of putting it. We're just getting more of that, and maybe that's why it's not as exciting. Although there are good things there, I would agree. I think it's been a disappointment overall and in general. And even Kyle said something like, well, we got Elden Ring, but like Elden Ring, I consider it a part of this gen, but also
it's also on
previous generation as well.
It's this generation. It's not like it's disappointing, because I would push back on that, going like, actually, no.
Okay, I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think this generation has been disappointed. It just hasn't been as
Baldur's Gate alone
for you guys.
Yeah, like Baldur's Gate alone.
I mean, Elden Ring alone. To be honest,
it's been amazing. Last year's been amazing. The thing about this generation compared to the last was every time there was a generation, there was a cutoff point, right? There is no cutoff points anymore in generations of consoles. So like you're going to see the PS4 be supported for a very, very, very long time. Same with the Nintendo Switch. It's their own problem that they're going to have. It's their own success. You're right. Like there's been plenty of really awesome games. Miles, Demon's Souls, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon, God of War, like Spider-Man 2. Like they're all great. A lot of those though I can play on my PS4, admittedly. And a lot
Forza
of them
Horizon 5, Halo Infinite. Let's get some Xbox.
I mean, just through the PlayStation perspective. So like, it seems like a lot of sequels and a lot of games that I could play on cross-gen stuff. And that's just the way of the beast now. It's about, how do I transition these audiences to this other ecosystem? The carrot on the stick is not the same anymore when you have people playing Warzone or Fortnite or whatever, these long-term live service games on their phones, on their tablets, on PS4s, on Xboxes, right? Xbox One. So it's like, it's a different beast now. That's why I truly don't care when they go like how many units sold of a box, because it's just not, that's not the metric anymore. The metric is audience.
You're absolutely right. And we talked a lot last week and the week prior about PC audiences growing as a result of console gamers migrating over. Nerd Chat, both of you guys are examples of this. Bacon, a big example of this as well.
Traders.
Real traders, real highfalutin. But no, it makes sense that people would graduate into the PC space, but they're doing so. We talked about anecdotally and with data to back it up with Xbox controllers, which I thought was interesting. I think it's more that there's simplicity where there's a lot of technology in the DualSense, but so it goes. That said, the PC market is growing and we can log in and play Xbox and PlayStation games there. So I get that it makes sense. And when I was thinking back about this past generation, the Xbox Series S and X, and then the PlayStation 5, the black eye for Xbox seems to be the gap in first-party releases and the debatable quality. Like 8.0s apparently aren't good enough. 9s are what it has to be. And then for PlayStation, it's hardware. Like the PSVR 2 not being supported. The PlayStation Portal came and went and is for some reason is
not having local play on it, right?
Yeah, right. It's got like all these weird issues with it.
Tread lightly.
I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying that's complaints.
The headset may look phallic in nature.
It's so weird. It is
I
weird.
think the hat actually does help.
The hat's helped.
Okay.
Yeah, I look like a giant kid, but it helps.
You cosplaying Wayne's World out here.
You look like Team Rocket's really been bothering you, and you're out to get them.
But Luke, I want to add on to your point. I don't know why I shouldn't say I feel bad, but it's just I feel for Xbox because you're right. I've heard you say this numerous times. The hardware, they nailed it. This is hands down the best Xbox hardware we've ever gotten, may ever get. Okay. They've had great first party games. Like everyone forgets 2021, like a banger year. Then we have 2022, which sucked, wasn't very, although filled with some good titles in there.
Sure.
And then 2023, we also had some great games in there with Starfield and the Hi-Fi Rush was 2023, right? Like we found our fun in Red Ball.
Yeah, we did.
And Forza Motorsport, that was a game that literally did come and went, and I came and went, and I enjoy Forza Motorsport, but I think people have just made that leap to Forza Horizon more because that's I guess a bit more accessible. But it all feeds off that one bad year, and then Xbox is just never going to catch up at this point. But like you said, building on the Activision and Bethesda acquisitions, we're going to see, I don't know if it's enough to sway anybody's opinion, but at least they're going to have people engaged in their games. Going back to what Joe said, is like they're going to have plenty of people playing Microsoft, Xbox platform ecosystem games. So I guess, and that's really all that matters, right? I mean, Jose and I, we don't really play on our console at all anymore.
No, the truth is, so like, because I love my Xbox, and if people
ask me, but it's
gamer, like I still say I'm an Xbox gamer, even though I haven't played my Xbox in literally 6 months. But the reason why I made the jump, Luke, was not because of like some elitist person. It's not because Bacon is that much of a motivator, even though he is very much a motivator. The truth was just, I realized like the experiment of putting Xbox and PlayStation games on PCs is over. It's no longer an experiment. Like they're clearly seeing the margins enough that trend is going to continue. And I see the gap between consoles as too long. Like, I mean, you can just see it where like it's 8 years is too long, dude, in today's world. And I'm not saying that they should go faster, because I don't think they can, right? There's too much of a technological blur between the generations. But because as gaming is like my primary hobby, it's obviously our hobby with the podcast and stuff. Like I like being on that bleeding edge. And so the only way that I can truly get that consistently is kind of porting over to the PC side, because that's just where you can push it without the limitations of the box itself. And like Joe said, they already know that. The other weird part about it is like the transitional thing between PS4, PS5, and now the PS5 Pro, and of course the Xbox One and One X, and now the Series X, is that also is never going to go away. Like there are some people out there that say like next gen, they just need to have a hard line, and like everything from there is needs to be only on the new gen. That will never happen, because
we asked that on last week.
We did. It's too much of the market that they'll lose. And so the reality is like whatever comes after the Series X, the Series Y, the Series P, whatever it's called, right? Like it's also still good. Their games are still going to be available on the Series X, arguably on the Series 1 for a long time. Like, and it's not that they shouldn't because they want to push the tech. It's just, again, they're trying to go for the biggest market. So, you know, it is truly rapidly transitioning. And I will give credit to Joe. Joe was on our show like 2 years ago. And even then Joe was like, it's not about the box anymore, guys. Like, cause we were still arguing about that back then between PlayStation and Xbox. He's like, that will go away. Like, it's just a matter of time before eventually it's just a focus on games. And I think that's what we see with all of the market moving forward. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
Even, and I say that even knowing the day will come for PlayStation as well. And like PlayStation will always do what Xbox is doing. They're just going to be a few years late because they don't have the necessity to,
I was going to say they don't have
to make these moves, because they are in a more comfortable position. So like they don't have to put their games day one. And I argue that will not come in the next 10 years at all. Like
10 years, really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Really? That's a long time, man.
I don't know, man.
I would very much, so for because they still very much value the box, but you're going to see the timelines between releases get smaller and shorter and shorter. So like, what we've seen with Xbox, they went to PC for necessity. Games are getting more and more expensive. Their audiences are considerably a lot smaller than PlayStation's or Nintendo's. So they have to put their games day and date on PC. They just have to, out of just pure necessity, because games are expensive to make. And I think that's what it gets down to at the end of the day here as well, which is the problem with like the consoles feeling like they're, oh man, we're still getting PS4 versions, is because the development cycle on these games went from unrealistic to a detriment. So, 10 years, I'm telling you. And listen, I was saying, and what I was saying from like the future of Xbox being like, hey, it's going to be more of an app. I was saying that in 2016 and, 2018, 2019. So no day and date within 3 years.
So yeah, Addy Dotun, within 3 years. I tend to agree with Addy on this one. No,
I don't know about 3. I think it's
multiplayer games.
Multiplayer games, already happening.
Sure, but single player, no.
Joe,
because they've done the math, it hurts them. What's up?
What do you think of this beautiful designed console right here? What do you think of this? But look at this, guys.
It's all right.
You see that dust, Luke?
That's, no, the video is 720p.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what point.
Here's my elite. You hear that, guys? Audio listeners.
Say, what is happening?
Dusty. Sorry.
Is this just a PC Master Race comment?
Yeah, exactly.
That's literally all.
I've been playing
and the thing that draws me to PC gaming is
it's incredible, Joe. Come
fidelity.
on, Joe. I've
done
it.
Joe's a PC gamer, but he's talked about
this. Fantasy VII remake just a month ago.
I don't care about the frame rate.
It was beautiful.
It's about the Elden Ring mods,
Steam achievement. Yes,
they modded Bloodborne into Elden Ring.
Well,
that's what gets me in.
And he wants to be Mandalorian Starfield. Come on over.
Yeah.
Come on over.
So I'm gonna bring us back back on track here, just for clarity's sake. Last week, Todd Oxtra had written in asking about the cadence of releases between franchises, like the difference in time between Gears 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 versus Gears 4 and 5. Right? It's taking longer to make games within franchises because games are more complex. The development titles are longer, and I'm fully in the camp that they've got to speed up production of games. It's got to happen, but you shouldn't be waiting 6 years for the next game in a franchise. With the exception perhaps of Elder Scrolls styles, like Elder Scrolls Starfield-esque type things, because those games find their rhythm 2 and 3 years out as mod communities and expansions take over. Like they give you the base and then the game builds. But from like Halo 6 to 7, 7 to 8 and so on, it shouldn't be so long. And Logan was of the mind that, that happened because of crunch. And I feel like there's got to be a middle ground somewhere, because to go back to the comments that we were saying earlier, how many years in between, like 10 years until their day and date, how long are generations going to be transitional where you have the Series S and X along with the new next Xbox, whatever it is. They've got to find a way to reach audiences faster. And I say they being the entire game industry, whether it's hardware, software, subscription services, you've got to reach your audience with pace and with speed. And that's kind of that lends itself to the logic of, we're hearing reports that like Activision is going to drip feed its content into Game Pass, not all at once. Again, it's a bummer, but it makes sense because your audiences need something regularly. And the speed at which games get to them is too slow.
But these are old games. Like these are not.
But not everybody's going to play every game either, dude. Right? So like you drip out a handful of people play them, and then they go back to whatever the AAA or AA title is. Like that is a good strategy. It's not what we.
I'm not saying it's
every week. There's an article written. Every 2 weeks there's an article written. Game Pass. Yeah. And somewhere in the bottom paragraph is also Call of Duty coming in such and such. Yeah. Also, play Avowed and such, and that's their strategy, which makes sense. But reaching audiences faster, hardware, software, subscription service has to be a goal of the industry. And so that's why we see AI coming up. That's why people, I think, are more demanding and more frustrated by years where first party is absent. Is there any logic in there? Or did I spread the net too wide?
No, I mean, bringing it to the PlayStation side, that's why they hired 2 CEOs. When we talk about margins, the margins that they're talking about is like, hey, listen, Insomniac, we can't give you $500 million to go make another Spider-Man. So what's going to have to give here, right? Like, Naughty Dog is going to put out one actual game this generation.
Insane. That's just
that's sad. Yeah, right. And like that's where the margins actually need to improve. And it's very easy to sit there and go, Naughty Dog, go make a Last of Us Part 3 in 3 years, right? There's a lot, there's a finesse and a dance to it. But I think the answer is what Sean Layden has been saying for years now, is that games have to be shorter. And they don't need to be 40, 50, 60, 100 plus hours. And they need to be, short in scope as well. A lot of games, like, I don't need, real talk, guys, Strike in Horizon didn't need to exist, and nobody knows what that is on this podcast. Like, the card games within the game. Clue. Yeah. Like
I did like
I
Horizon.
have the platinum for the first Horizon. I don't know what you're talking.
So like the little games within the games, like all like I don't need to see every single
like
pore on
or
Aloy's
Joe
face.
Make that map 1/2 size that it is.
Exactly. Right. Maybe you don't need a million activities in a single zone. Like those are the things that I think developers are going to be looking at.
And we've talked about that a lot. Like, why don't developers shorten or make the size and scope of their game smaller? How much of that is on them at some point? Like, why?
Oh, it's 100% on them. They took the wrong lesson from The Last of Us, and they want every game needs to be this. You know?
Yeah, but
that
then,
like PlayStation syndrome. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. But then you also have like Luke, who loves Hellblade 2, and I enjoyed Hellblade 2, and I'm not as high as Luke is, but I love my time with it. There's a short game, gets completely blasted because of the 6 hours that you can complete it. It's like, I think people's perception, we all need to change our perception of what a AAA high quality game is. We can't keep saying it has to be these massive games or it has to be a certain hour length. And also along with that, maybe start charging different amounts. I think that might help with that perception. I don't know. Not every game maybe should be a $70 game. Maybe it can be a $40 game. Maybe it can be a $30 game.
Hellblade is 50, right?
Yeah. But I mean, but Hellblade is kind of a tricky example there because of the tech and how long that game took. But Joe, go ahead. You're going to say something. Sorry.
No, I think you're 100% right. I think there's two things I need to speak on here. One being like, nobody talks about it on Twitter. Twitter's not real, right? Yeah. Social media, not real. We need to as I'm getting cleansed, I'm in a better state of mind.
Is it still deleted?
It's still deleted. It's still deleted. Okay. So I'm in a better state of mind. It's nice. I think why hasn't people talked about Hellblade more? It's because Xbox failed in the marketing of that game. That's why.
Big time.
Because that game is amazing. Hellblade does deserve all the recognition and deserves the spotlight. And, that is cause for a lot of things that happen in Xbox internally that would make us want to hit our heads against the brick wall. But at the same exact time, I really like a PlayStation guy here, and you probably eye-rolled at me 3 times during this podcast. I really love the Xbox approach of variety is the spice of life. Mm-hmm. Remember, Xbox was the dude bro box, not even 10 years ago, and now they're we got something for everyone. There's something. We got Minecraft, right? We got something for the kids, something for the adults. We have something for the RTS fan. We have something for the shooter. So they're here to scratch the itch. And I appreciate them doing that. Again, at the same exact time, how many times have we seen Avowed? How many times have we seen Fable? How long has it been between the Perfect Dark trailers? They are also running into that problem of these games, the big ones, taking a long time. Yeah. Taking a long time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I wonder, Joe, so as an example, because I haven't played Spider-Man 2 yet, not because of any I'm not against it or anything. I just don't have a PlayStation.
We're just gonna wait to play it on PC. We're just gonna wait.
But here's my question:
Jose said it was because he thought Mary Jane looked ugly.
I heard it was because Miles was in the game, not his Spider-Man.
Yes,
that's true.
Yes, exactly.
It really bothers him.
My question is, what if they told you, Insomniac said, "Hey, we're not going to release Spider-Man 3. We're going to release episodic parts of the game and use the exact same island that we've already created."
Say that in the leak?
I don't know, but I'm saying so they say instead of releasing a whole new game, we're going to release just I don't know, pick a villain, Sandman, right? We're going to release a Sandman DLC that's 8 hours long, right? And I that's a bad example. I know that's a bad example because of the game, but I'm just saying for the sake of our conversation. And they said we're going to charge $20 for that. Is that enough to satisfy fans, or that's going to annoy fans? Because you could make that same argument for Gears. You could say make it for Halo. You could make it for Forza. If they release these tiny chunks that add, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours, is that enough to be satisfied, or is it we need a full game? When are we going to get a full game? I think it's a hard problem.
Why do they have to listen to the fans? They can look at data.
Right.
People don't finish games. So just use the data you're getting and do it anyway. Who cares? The backlash. So what? So what if people are
they yelled about a puddle, right?
Exactly. Who cares? Eventually, somebody over there at the Xbox and PlayStation, and I guess they tried with Hellblade 2. but we got to start making this transition.
Yeah, but Hellblade 2 also took like 10 years.
I know. That's another bad example, but we're just saying like they have to see this data. And somebody's got to pull the Band-Aid already. Like start transitioning us to shorter, more focused experiences. And I think we're going to be okay. But back to what everyone already knows too. And I don't know if Joe or Luke said this, but like most people just play the same old games over and over and over again. We are a hardcore audience. We listen to podcasts. We make podcasts. We are on the Twitter streets, despite our best efforts not to be there. And that's not real life. So like, who should Xbox and PlayStation really be looking at to grow and continue on?
The numbers.
Well, when Jose was talking about like episodic, I think episodic is a bad
I don't think episodic.
Mantra. But then Addy in chat, I've been watching the chat. They've been having a good discussion.
They have.
Shout out to Dano. Grounded. He brought Grounded. Yeah, that was a good example.
But he pointed out the Destiny model, and it makes it seem like, okay, would you want a live service Spider-Man or some hybrid reality where like you get a new villain? Because like if they had drip fed me villains, villains, I'd be like, I kind of like that. But there's a price, and like I don't want to be in there doing dailies, but I would like a steady cadence of stories and fighting villains. And there is
guys, you are describing Suicide Squad.
No, I want it to be.
That's different because of the villain isn't changing.
Right.
That's different because that game wasn't as good as Spider-Man 2. I think.
No, I think to answer Jose's question, it's definitely like a Miles Morales in between the big games is their Band-Aid. So expect like a Spider-Man game, but not with Spider-Man. You know,
that's the PlayStation game and Xboxes. Yeah. That's Avowed is a Miles Morales size game.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly right.
That's the difference.
Elder Scrolls. Yeah.
Cygnus in the chat said, "No, I want that 200 million budget AAA blockbuster games. That's the Wagyu steak of aim." Yeah, but do you want to wait 8 to 10 years to get one of those? Like, think about
our lifespan. We only get a handful of those in your life, but that's the crazy part.
Exactly. Like the fact that Naughty Dog is only going to make one game. Is that just? Is that the status quo moving on? Is we're going to only expect one of these? I guess that's how it is, Luke. Because are we going to see Elder Scrolls, Baldur's Gate? Like that's a once. I guess. Gosh, we're going to all be retired. Exactly. I'm just. I guess it's hitting me. We're just going to die. I've only got like 5 more AAA IPA.
I thought he was going to say 5 years left. I was like,
IP. Honestly, the way this world's going, 5's being.
Yeah, 5's
pretty liberal with it. Yeah. But honestly, it's got to come from the indie devs. I've been stretching this, I've been preaching this for over a year now. It's like it is the bigger indie studios that are going to be taking these risks. That the bigger, more pronounced publishers that we know just simply can't. So listen, Alan Wake 2 didn't light the world on fire, but that studio gets to go out there and make another game while also making one of the best horror games we've experienced. Baldur's Gate 3 got a lot of investor funds from people like Wizards of the Coast, obviously, and Hasbro, but they self-published and they developed this game, and it is arguably one of the greatest RPGs of all time. So you're going to see, and it's very commercially successful. You're just going to see more of those games come out. Who knows what Wukong's going to do. Stuff like that.
I'm quietly more excited about Wukong after hearing that it's more God of War and less Souls. I was really excited. I don't know if that's true. We'll find out, but and it's that much more of a kick in the nuts because as they're not coming to Xbox right away for reasons that despite people saying they know have not been publicly stated, right? And so it is kind of a bummer because Black Myth does look really cool. I'll play back Black Myth Wukong if it's more like God of War. I don't know. Just it's strange watching this because every time you bring up Alan Wake 2, Joe. Yeah. I loved Alan Wake 2. I loved it. And I just finished Night Springs, which is a weird bit. But the game didn't sell. It didn't make money, which is a travesty because the game is truly art. But it's wild because Baldur's Gate did make money, right? And those two were the games of the year last year, right? And so it's interesting to watch these double and triple A budgets and return on investments be the continuous discussion of people in our space. And then seeing, like, I don't know if you guys saw this past week, you know, Abu Kabar Salim put up that Tales of Kenzera Dev Surgent Studios is doing layoffs.
Yeah.
And that's to me devastating, because one, Abu was on tons of shows. Didn't matter if they were big, small, including this one. Didn't matter if it was big, small. He was there. He was pumping up his staff, pumping up his studio, celebrating them, celebrating the game. He was at the Game Awards. He put the game into PlayStation Plus. He priced it at $20. All the reasons in the world for this game to be successful. Layoffs. And it's just a kick in the nuts when that happens. And so, like, pricing, time, indie, AAA, AA, it's really hard to get that math and that formula right for what's going to be success.
Yeah,
it just is.
Yeah. And also, I think that speaks to the other like side of the spectrum, which is like that of a Stellar Blade. That's been in conversations constantly for the reasons why, you know, that suck. But it's like people out there going,
is that the hard R and the outfits?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with my controversies and
I know, right?
What terrible things are going on.
So, like, you know, you had like 70,000 pathetic virgins sign a petition. They're like, we need to save this game because it needs to, and it goes out there and it sells 1 million units, right? And people then scratch their heads going, well, is that a success? Because, like, isn't this a $200 million game? It's very much not. But it's like, we don't, like, the audience, when we talk about games, again, very much in a vacuum. And it's a very toxic vacuum, and it's not speaking to the broader audience, nor is it even thinking about, like, in depth of, like, how much did it really cost to make Stellar Blade? Probably not as much as what, you know, even a Returnal costed. So, like, there are things that make, you know, a game like Stellar Blade a success where the studio's thinking about a sequel and ports. And then there's the other side of the coin where, yeah, we see Abu do so many interviews. We were going to have his interview this week, but it felt just, you know, in poor taste. But, like, countless shows. You know, the highlight of that Game Awards was him. And, like, to see that's even a PlayStation deal. And to see that studio go, yeah, we're going to have to lay off folks, that it breaks my heart, because at the end of the day, what caused that game to fail was it's a Metroidvania. And, like, that's
too hard for people. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, people just don't.
I think it's just
it's one of those things. I can't put a finger on it, but maybe it is backtracking, because I love Metroidvanias. But, like,
but it seems like there's been a lot of Metroidvanias recently.
Sure,
like
been a lot of.
I think Prince of Persia might have kicked it by accident, like very much by accident.
I was gonna say Prince of Persia,
yeah. But even that game did not do the numbers, at least at launch, that Ubisoft would have liked.
You were talking about Stellar Blade at 1 million units, right?
Yep.
And then meanwhile, Hypercharge on Xbox sells 100,000 units, and they are screaming at the top of their lungs how excited they are to sell 100,000 units. And the size of the team does make a factor. Hypercharge is 6 people. I think Surgeon was 20 plus, but I can't remember for the top of my head. But, like, what's success at 100,000 units versus 1 million? It's still not the same. And, like, don't even get me started on Square Enix's projections for what they think a successful game is. Remember Avengers and Tomb Raider? Yeah. Right. You remember what they thought those games would be?
Yeah, God, that was insane.
What did you promise to an investor?
Yeah.
It really is what comes down to it. Because, like, I saw people, like, you know, poo-pooing Hypercharge. Oh, only 100,000. It's like two guys. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? Like, they are pretty comfortable now because of that game. Yeah.
So
awesome.
I have a question for you guys, and I genuinely don't know the answer, but I'm curious if any of you do, or chat if you guys know. I would love to know this because it's kind of come up. Luke mentioned it earlier too, the AI thing. So, like, when you talk about the cost of games, for people that don't know, the cost of games is the workers. It's not tech. Like, that's what people, like, when I was a kid, I thought it was tech. I thought it was like buying crazy expensive computers and stuff like that. And yeah, they do need powerful computers to develop games and stuff, but really what you're paying for is salaries. That's what's so expensive, right? So if AI becomes prolific in the development of games, what does it do? Like that, because I'll be telling you, like, in the education world, which is like my professional world, like, it's relatively new and it is a growing sector. And I think it's very fascinating. And I've seen some really cool examples. I was just at a conference, you know, a couple weeks ago that I saw some amazing stuff. But even that, I'm like, it's still not replacing teachers. That's still not cutting down that much time in terms of like planning and stuff like that. I mean, there's some cool stuff there. There is. I'm not saying there isn't. But that's my question is like, because I keep hearing that AI rhetoric that like that's changing it's going to save devs so much time. But in what? Is it rendering? Is it planning? Is it? I just don't know. Do any of you know? I'm curious.
I would assume. Sorry, Luke. This is your show. What am I doing?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I don't know.
No, don't. No, come back.
He left.
He left. He's out. No, I'm anxious to hear Joe's answer because I look at AI from a very mixed standpoint because I teach English and I see a lot of adults and children using it to replace the thinking they would do to write something. I have teachers that I will actually, younger teachers that I will say, if you're not sure how to call a parent, you need to script out what you're going to say. And sometimes, like to some of them, to the youngest ones, I have to say, fine, write your points down and put it in ChatGPT if you have to. Yeah. And then start, like, use that as a starting point where instead of an end
point. Don't read it verbatim, bud.
Right. Like, for God's sake. And then I have kids that replace their work with it. The counterpoint being that if you can develop an AI algorithm program where you can suddenly put in hey, I need dialogue for X, Y, and Z, or I need to bring this game that was an Xbox original title and I needed to have assets that mimic or look similar for this generation, and you can put that in and find a way to find an equilibrium there, that's good. If you can cut down on dev time to release your product faster, that's good. But the problem is you do need the human touch and human element in lots of different places there, and management to include education. The people in charge will want it to use it as a cost-cutting method instead of a tool to make a better product. And that's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
You put kids on an online program and call that teaching. That's not it at all. You need a human element. And so that's the danger. AI can be this incredibly useful tool to clean up bottlenecks, to allow people to work more functionally well across the world and with different languages and work together. But you run the risk of those in charge misappropriating their resources or trying to cost cut and taking humans out of the very key elements that they have to be in.
Like what we're seeing in games journalism right now, right?
Very much so.
There are AI writers and editors to edit the AI's articles because it's about more is really less. And it's just more income for them. It's about like, hey, how can we make AI shaders? How can we make AI terrain? How can we make mundane objects faster so that artists don't have to work on them, right? So like, who gives a shit what a tree looks like 50,000, digital yards away? If you're never going to interact with it, who cares? Let's have an AI be tossed in the mix there. That's where I assume things are going. But it really is at the end of the day to replace the worker. And even then, like I've just started seeing articles of like, has the AI bubble burst? Because you're already seeing these large companies that once pushed AI going, oh wait, it's actually stealing all my stuff. So it's one of those things where it's AI is a big dumb idiot that's just really good at copying things. It has no brain or any logic. It's
not a singularity. It's not Skynet like movies make it out. It's different, but fascinating. And Joe, I agree with you, but that's my point. And I'm going to say something, and I'm not knocking Starfield. I love Starfield. I had a great time, but that's my core question here. Are we talking about AI being used as a way for a company to say, we want 900 worlds, so let's teach an AI how to create 800 of them, and then we'll have our team create the other 100 that are kind of the key ones? Is that what the plan is for gaming? Because if it is, I don't know if that's super beneficial. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And I would, probably. You'd love to say that the team should make the 900, but even one, I don't think that's realistic, right?
Just make it 3. Just make 3 planets.
Yes, and so that's I guess my question is like I want the games to be shorter, but devs need time to make games because, like, again, in our world, even if you're not making a highly graphically, like, crazy game, even if you're making a 2D sprite game, you know what I'm saying? Like that still takes a lot of time. And then that's the porting issue and the release issue and then publishing issues. Like that is like devs need help too, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's the bottom line.
AI would be great for porting, right? AI would be great for helping with conversions of stuff.
Sure.
But don't curate the critical writing that comes into play.
I think, and to just throw what Aid was saying in the chat, is there an argument of too many games and and people only playing a few? That's also the problem.
Yes.
It's also like curation of content. There's so many goddamn Radalika games that like you're missing awesome indies. I was scrolling through one of the, sales, and it's like there's so much bull crap here. And like where's like the games I actually give a crap? There's like so many, again, like 25-cent like Radalika games. It's like here's a cheap platinum, here's a cheap, it just too much clutter. And so that's the other problem. When I've said this on the trophy room, when PlayStation brags about there's over 2,000 publishers on the PlayStation ecosystem, it's nothing to be proud of. A lot of those publishers are garbage. Right? And go for it.
Well, that used to be the benefit of console gaming, which went away during the Xbox One, PS4 era, towards the back half of it, right? Because it used to be more curated, to Joe's point, and like to go back all the way to the Nintendo Seal of Excellence, and then recently Xbox has started sending out awards for to people for Xbox Games Excellence or something like that, to people that are publishing on their titles or on their console. It's a real thing. I saw it today and yesterday.
They call it editor picks on PlayStation side.
Do they? Like those awards are a big deal because there's so much garbage that it's like, all right, at least find me something. But it's hard on that store to find quality.
But you're saying, I'm not trying to be disparaging when I say there's a lot of like I can straight up become a publisher and publish a game on the PlayStation storefront. A lot of people make money on just making easy platinum games, and that hurts actual art that's in
Will
that.
Will you just tell Kyle to stop buying those games and supporting them?
I know he's funding the problem.
Do we have to go over this?
I'm sorry, we've gone on a lot of tangents.
But like you said, are there too many games? Yes. And then I like Silkenit's comment saying it's time to remind everyone again, in 2023, arguably one of the best years in gaming, the most played games, despite all these great games that we're getting, are 6 years or older. And that is either, I don't know, it's pretty sad. And I think another last final thing, Luke, before we move on, is that all of us are in our 30s, correct?
Yeah.
Or at least for now.
Older.
Almost
just
40.
Just barely. Older gamers, we've seen it evolve from the NES to the SNES to the PS1, 64, Xbox. We're used to that kind of console generation and the next step forward. But like Jose said, I don't think it's ever going to be the same at this point. And we have to start changing. Exactly. We don't even talk about mobile gaming at all because none of us do that because we're,
Luke does some.
Oh, he does. You do.
I mobile game a lot. Yeah.
And it's just that goes back to that mindset. Like we got to change what we think of a AAA game, what it should be. And we also need to change our minds on what these generations are going to be looking for, because we are in for a ride. And I'm all for it because I'm on PC getting those silky smooth frames, gaming at 4K, 120.
I don't care.
I could play PlayStation, Xbox. I could even.
I don't care. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the same 6 games and the same 6-year-old games.
Let's go jump in Warzone, boys. Let's do it.
Exactly. It's all about Warzone, and it's all about how old's your mother, Luke? 67. Some games are 67 years old, and they feel just like a 24-year-old game. You know what I'm talking about?
God damn it!
She's got a young spirit.
I just feel like one day. I know that I've never met Luke in person, but like one day, years from now, I cannot wait till I meet Luke in person. And if his mother is ever around, I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, I'm going to feel awkward.
You can't wait to meet Luke's mom. Yeah.
My mom is the sweetest, nicest woman. And she has if she were to watch now, like she wanted to support the show by doing like merch or something. Cause I gave my dad an XEP cup for Father's Day or something. And she's like, where can I get that? I tried to find it on your YouTube, but I didn't know. I was like, oh, Mom, it's okay. You don't have to
stay away.
Here's what I want to do, and he'll forget about it in time. For Mother's Day, I would love to have a picture of me and Luke's mom, like meeting up in real life, like this, arm in arm.
That'd be
Happy Mother's Day, son.
Honestly, God, I would love for you to meet my mother. Like, real talk, I think it'd be the funniest thing, but not my dad. Like, he wouldn't get it. You know what I mean?
No, he wouldn't. Yeah.
What are we doing?
What are you saying about my wife?
Yeah, it would not go over well. But it'd be funny. It's always funny to me. I don't know if you guys have this. My parents love me more than anyone on this earth. Like, they are truly, like, my brother's their favorite. But like, I'm up there, right? Top 2.
Top 3.
Yeah. They like my wife more than me, if we're being honest. But they have no idea. They don't understand gaming. They don't understand my interests. They don't understand me. They get my brother. They don't understand me. So it's like, when I'm like, I went to LA, they're like, did you have a good trip? I'm like, my parents gave me money.
Did you go to the In-N-Out, Luke? Did you go to the In-N-Out?
Did you go to one of those parades?
The best I could tell was like, we saw the Hollywood sign. They were like, that's amazing. And I was like,
wow.
Couldn't tell them about like talking to Cliffy B or any of that. They're like, that's okay.
How did you handle the woke mob, son?
They're not down that road. No, they're not down that road. Thank God. All right, let me read my patrons real quick. There's amazing people that keep our show going, and then I do want to talk. We got several more topics on the docket, including Game Pass, which I'm excited for. But I do want to read off the list of amazing patrons that have helped this show be successful. Some of them stayed on Patreon, others came channel members. If you've dropped a super chat, if you've been a patron, if you've been a channel member, thank you for helping XEP make the go round. And if that's not in your budget and you're just sharing it out, click and like and subscribe. We appreciate you as well. We do like to read our tier 2 and 3 shout outs on the show each week over on patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass. And this week we want to thank Chris 1H1D, Nicholas Johnson, Ellery Woods Parker III, Rob Frawley II, Tao Zochi, Xbox Skittle, Randolph Thor 19, Silkenet, Hafrican aka Charles Jones, Game Positive, Jam Pack Sam, Matt Valdez, Neo Prime 33, Rick Davis, Red Beast, Xbox Mike 29, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, Brendan Myers aka the Winter Gamer, Sony's VP of Marketing Kevin Butler, Clint Coons, DJ Hero, and Dano12. Thank you guys for hanging out here on the show with us today. We appreciate you supporting XEP, whether you are on Patreon, channel members, which are scrolling underneath, and so on. Sorry, I realized I haven't read patrons in a while because Logan likes to handle that part. Yeah. So I was like, I had to find my rhythm. It took a second.
It's okay. Did you mention to the audience Suddy's doing well?
We've said it before, but yeah, Suddy is doing very well. He's still not good at Fortnite, but we do enjoy playing with him. Dan likes to give us a hard time in private chat because, Joe, you and I don't have children, and Jose is always very eloquently neutral here. But Dan gives us a hard time because we don't have kids. So we'll be like, you want to play? See, Suddy does something different, Dan. He just plays and leaves his mic on while his entire family screams into it.
Oh, nice.
It's the worst.
And it has cost us several dubs.
Somebody shut that cat up.
Well, to be fair, we played with our friend Alan, and he'll literally put his daughter on the mic while we're like squatted up. Like we're in game, and we hear.
Yeah, tell Alan, we come over here. We need some backup. Yeah, we need to go to the buy station.
But we've also lost some dubs for the record.
We've lost several matches because young man, I don't know if we can say his name on the show, but he likes to run around without pants, and it's something.
So
his name's Suddy.
Exactly. You think I'm wearing pants on this pod?
You wearing pants right now?
It's a little warm. It's a little hot.
Yeah.
So,
I would never put a child on our mics. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude, don't do it.
Dad, what's January 6th? And you were there? Something like that.
Great. All right, guys. I wanted to take a moment and talk about Game Pass. I had a brief chat during a Let's Talk on this about a week or so ago, but it has been astounding to me just how good Game Pass has been this year. And it still surprises me that we don't see Game Pass growing in terms of subs. And I think that might come down to a couple factors. And I want to pick your brains at it. But right now in the month of July, Journey to the Savage Planet, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, Cricket, 24, Case of the Golden Idol, Neon White, which I put in there twice for some reason, Tachia, Magical Delicacy, Flock, Flintlock, and Konitsugami Path of the Goddess, all in there for the month of July. That's a pretty great month in terms of diversity and quality.
Dungeons of Hinterberg.
Dungeons of Hinterberg is in there as well. Maybe that's what I meant to put on when I put Neon White in there a second time. And then last month, Callisto Protocol, Still Wakes the Deep, Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, SteamWorld Digs 1 and 2, and a few others. It's remarkable to me the quality and diversity we get in Game Pass. And I put you guys in our notes a full list as well. But Game Pass isn't growing. At least we're not getting notice of it growing. Last we heard was around 34, 35 million, somewhere in there. To me, this is a service that everybody should have, and yet it doesn't, even when you get banger after banger month. Sorry, Joe. It's just surprising to me. Bangers and slangers. There you go. I'm actually going to put into the chat for the live audience to read as well. Pure Xbox has a nice list where you can just look at all the stuff released into Game Pass this year. Mm-hmm. But like, it's great. And knowing that we've got Activision Blizzard stuff on the way, still surprising to me. I'm currently enjoying Lords of the Fallen with no cost to myself. So any performance issues don't bother me. I didn't lose money on it. I'm having a blast with it. And so I'm curious what your all's take is on Game Pass at the moment, why it is or isn't growing. Dan, you look like you want to go. Go for it.
I got something for you right
Tag
now.
in.
Luke. So going back to, I can't remember who said it in the chat, are there just too many games? I remember I asked this to Logan, I think the last time I was on the show, and he said, no, or maybe he was on our show, I can't remember, but he was arguing, yes, you want to have as many games as you can in the service. And I was kind of like, is that true? But here are the most popular games on Game Pass right now.
Okay.
I'll give you according just the top 10. The Xbox app right here.
Okay.
Valorant, League of Legends, Minecraft, Microsoft Solitaire,
yikes,
Diablo 4, Forza Horizon, Rainbow Six, Pal World, Sea of Thieves, Starfield, Flight Sim, Fallout 76, Halo Infinite, Grounded. Maybe the smallest game on here that was like the top 10 or 11, 12, Stardew Valley, and that's like 13 and 14. What did a majority of those titles have in common for the top 10?
Live service.
There you go. Rest my case.
Well, and that my point. Sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to cut you off. Here's what I would say. I think what's hard to do is sell subscriptions, and I think Cygnus in chat, he said subscription fatigue is a thing too. Like that's a great point as well. But honestly, I think the most likely time when you're going to get more subscribers is at the start of a new generation, because like again, we're already set, and like we've said several times, even in this episode, most people don't play a lot of new stuff. Like I have Game Pass Ultimate, I pay for it every month. I don't have Dan's like crazy 3-year like paid $2. Like I pay the full price every month, and I'm happy to support Xbox and the devs and stuff. Mm-hmm. But even I don't play that many new games. I just like having it for when I want it. And the way I justify it is like, look, if I were to play 3 games a year that come out on Xbox Game Pass, I'm justifying the purchase. So it's not a big deal in that regard. But the reality is like the odds that people are picking up a new PS5, a new Series X, a new Series S for Game Pass specifically are not high at this point. Like they've just been out long enough that the people that got them now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's likely they're going to do that. But you know, to why Game Pass is great, Luke, you're right. It's such an amazing deal, but people don't. They've either already got an Xbox and have it, or they already have their Xbox and they only buy the Maddens and the FIFAs and the CODs, and they don't really need to do that other stuff. Mm-hmm. I think that the one time it's going to happen is next generation. And as an asterisk, I think the whole thing with the TVs might change a tiny bit. I don't think it's going to drastically move the needle. Sorry, not the TVs, the Fire Sticks. Yeah. But I think the fact that people, when they start to realize that critical mass point of like, so I can just buy a Fire Stick and I can play a Game Pass, and you're like, yeah, dude, it's only 17 for Ultimate or whatever tier you want to buy. That is an appealing piece of it, right? Because the hardware can be something that is a barrier from people joining the market. So the fact that they can do it on stuff that they already have. And speaking of Asante, I know he was here earlier. He talked about this last week, right? That like the tech to do that has actually been in Fire Sticks for years now, but you basically had to like jailbreak your Fire Stick. So now that they're just making it accessible, that could move the needle. But in general, I think people just don't need to. They don't want to do that at this point. Joe, what were you going to say? Sorry.
I gotta hold on, Joe. I made a horrible mistake. I need to get back. I don't rest my case. That was PC.
Yeah.
Here are the console titles. Okay. It's basically the same. Minecraft, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Forza Horizon 5. Then you got sports games, NBA, Madden, Gang Beast, UFC, Skate 3, Fallout 4, MLB, Halo Infinite in the top 10.
Yeah, a few things. People are tired of subscriptions. I know I am. People don't subscribe to... people are, I think, starting to be more mindful of their subscriptions. So like, oh, there's a new show on Netflix or Disney Plus. I'll subscribe to them this month, but next month I'm not, right? So there's that there's that method that probably hurts someone like Microsoft, because a lot of these subscriptions, they want you to forget it exists. And the other part of it is, they're not Call of Duty Warzone. Like, it's not Fortnite. It runs into the same problem. No matter how accessible these games are, they're not these comfort games that people already know. And so they're like, well, what is a gang beast? I'm just going to go out here and go play Fortnite, right? So I think that's one of the problems that, Game Pass falls into. It's a great service. It is the best deal in video games. Completely it's agree. Wonderful. I don't own it anymore, but I could even attest it's a great time. That being said, I think people being tired of subscription services, I think this, even if you were to tie it to some type of COD bonus, I don't know if that even really drives the needle forward all too much. It's just,
Well, it's like they have two possible avenues between COD and Warcraft to hit massive audiences. Warcraft being the PC audience, COD just being COD, right? And I wonder if they don't explore that. And I do want to address, like, as far as like being wary of subscriptions, I'm wary of the freaking costs going up.
Right.
Like, you keep bumping it $1 every other month. Like, I don't need Hulu, Amazon, Netflix, such that I do have them because my wife or my summer, but like I cancel them pretty regularly now when we're not like trying to watch something, just because I don't need all that.
And I think the most important thing when it comes to the subscription service in games is that people just consume games differently than they do movies and TV. Movies and TV are shorter, I hate to say investments, because like it's really, they're shorter pieces of media, so you can consume them and watch them faster.
You're right.
There's a bigger time investment, time sink, and ownership of that experience that I feel like the average gamer wants. For example, again, Baldur's Gate, yet again, bought that digitally, but I wanted the physical. So I went out there, I bought that physical because the game meant so much. I think there is still an onus of people owning the content on a game opposed to on a service that I think has a bigger allure than people tend to give it. That's my only guess, at least.
But is that a generational thing though, Joe? I mean, like, I agree for us, and like Kyle's a great example. I love Kyle, but like physical forever. Like, I just don't think that's the reality of the world that or I should say for now the direction it's going. But that's also generational, because I'll tell you, like, my daughters, and granted they're 9 and 7, dude. They're not hardcore gamers. They game because daddy games and stuff. Like, but dude, when they're teenagers, do you think they're going to care about the physical copies of games?
No,
I don't know, man.
And I think even like so I talked to some of my younger coworkers, and they say yas and fire and stuff like that. I don't understand half the time that when they speak to me, I say, speak to me with respect, goddammit. I say that to them. And they're like, yas, queen.
I am your elder. You will listen
exactly. You will speak to your elder with.
When I was younger, we used to carry onions on our belts because it was the style at the time.
Exactly.
I usually tell kids about my gamer score, and then they immediately respect me.
I bet they do, actually.
No?
Right. I bet they're the smaller classroom rooms. Anyway, so me at age 15, dude, Mr. Lohr's the coolest dude ever. He plays Gears.
Oh yeah, he will.
But no, you're right, because like the younger generations, they're playing Lethal Company, they're playing Helldivers. Like, the one thing that I think, going back to the conversation we were having before, publishers need to start exploring the sub $70 space, because there's money to be had at the $30, $40, $20 range. A lot of success. Yeah, and it's something that Keeley even highlighted. Two of the biggest games this year are indie games or indie scoped games. So, yeah.
I was following the chat as well, and a lot of them are pointing out quite appropriately, like, sub costs are going up. That's inevitable. when you try to have stuff in there, and then people are having to cut back on the amount of subscriptions they have. And to your point, Joe, people consume it differently. Games, to most people, do take effort, mental effort, and some people just don't want to put that energy in when they come after a 15-hour shift, 12-hour shift, long days. And that's the difference between mass amounts of content in TV versus games. And when you play a game, do you want to just go back to your old hat? Do you just want to have a new skin in COD or Fortnite? Or do you want to learn an entirely new game system and have a go at an Elden Lord? You know,
I had a very good opportunity today to waste 2 hours in a new game. I was like, oh, maybe it's Valiant Hearts. I've been feeling it. But I'm like, do I really want a narrative experience on my Portal? And what did I end up doing? Just booting up Elotro for the 18th time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, how many of us do that? You finish a game, you finish it. Like I just beat Elden Ring, and for a minute I was kind of like, I'm gonna go play something I've already played, Dead Space, or you know what I mean, something like that. And I started a new game, what you can talk about later, but just like that's a common thing, and that's again hardcore audience. Like the average person who's playing on the console they've had for 5 years or whatever it is, they're not necessarily looking for new experiences. So I don't know, man. I mean, we'll see. But I certainly hope, for the record, I should be clear, I love Game Pass. I want to see it live. I want to see it grow. You know, to be honest with you, this might be a hot take. I'm not opposed to paying even a few more dollars. I feel like that $20 is kind of my limit on it, to be honest with you. But if they raised it to 20 and they said, we're locking this in for 10 years, I would be like, fair enough, sir. Like I'm okay with that. I do worry about creep, right? I think that is a reality of all services. And it is that weird game that we were playing of like, cancel this one and rehire this one and like deals and like first world problems, I guess.
Yeah. Luke, I wanted to just add that I think of Game Pass now as like a supplement to how I consume my games these days. And I think that's even what Phil Spencer said. It's just one of the options for people on Xbox to get games. And I buy it for this year. I can't wait. I played Hellblade. Can't wait to play Indiana Jones later in the year. And, you know, those are like two big games I probably would have spent money on. But I get to experience, like I put Paw Patrol for Grayson. Great way for younger kids to play.
And the Platinum.
Bluey. No. I got Bluey. I got the 1,000 out of 1,000. That was all Grayson, my son. I played Evil West this year. I'm looking at my list right now. Like there are games that supplement what I'm getting throughout the year. And now, especially being, I hate to say, on PC and buying more games on Steam now, Game Pass is my way to play Starfield eventually down the road, because I did buy that. I think someone actually in the chat mentioned that they save money, and I completely agree, by getting Game Pass, and that allowed me to buy the Shattered Space when the what was DLC. It, the $30 edition where we had the early access and we got the DLC, and I did the same thing for Forza Horizon 5. So it's just, I think that's why I will continue to be an Xbox gamer, is that I have so many options. And I know you've said this too, Luke, like there's so many ways we can play these games. And I think that's kind of their goal. And whether or not we buy it physically or through the store or play on Game Pass, we're spending money in the ecosystem. And I guess that's really all that matters. But you're right, Luke. Game Pass is a phenomenal value. Just, I think, going forward with Activision and the games we're going to get from Activision and Bethesda, how could you not be a Game Pass subscriber? I don't.
But well, it's going to come down to marketing, though, Dan, because again, talking to our group, yeah, absolutely. But kind of like we saw they screwed up with Hellblade, right? And with some of the stuff, like you need to market it. Like people, if you want to get new subscribers, you have to market to new subscribers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like even like not just. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. We're gonna see it with Call of Duty, right? Like we have to.
You would think so, but we thought we were gonna hear from Hellblade. Like remember when Greenberg said, like, "Hey, we have the Hellblade thing coming out in like a week," and we're like, "Great,
Hellblade's different.
Where is it?" And then 2 weeks later, nothing. And then it released, and we're like, well, we're all playing it because we knew. But again, I still feel like I didn't see the marketing that we thought we really were. Truly.
Before I just want to interject by saying, currently 88 degrees in New York City. I do not have my fan or AC on because I appreciate.
Joe has no pants. As he should.
God. No, I'm wearing sweats.
87 in Denver. Air is
bad luck.
Yeah, but you and I are both in our
69 degrees right now.
It's because I don't want you, the listener, to hear the fan. You, the listener, to hear the AC in the back. I'm doing this for you. Okay.
Thanks for sharing that, Joe.
It's so hot right now, guys. I'm dying.
Take your pants off.
Yeah. I think that would give me relief. No, because you know what? The reflection of the TV, I think you might be able to see a cheek. So I want to
instantly demonetized. instantly,
Instantly
instantly
banned.
demonetized, and or maybe we get a few more subs. I don't know. It's how you go. So the Game Pass idea in general for me, like I get surprised when people don't have Game Pass, right? Yeah. I'm genuinely surprised when people don't, because some of the games I own, some I haven't. I want to say, and shout out to Save Game Media in the chat. I was listening to Jam Pack Sam and Kevin Ainsworth, who were talking about like when they see a good Game Pass month, sometimes they already own the game and they're still happy for people in the month. That happened to me when I saw Callisto Protocol go into there. Like, that's a fun game. That's a great game that I think people should try, play, and if it's there for you, no harm, no foul, because Game Pass, right? Yep. I'm never going to play Octopath Travelers 1 or 2. Not at all. But I know they're good and well received and people like them. SteamWorld Digs 1 and 2 are fantastic video games. Go play them. No harm, no foul. Game Pass. And the idea that some of those Activision Blizzard titles of yore might make their way back gets me really excited. And I hope it paves the way for a licensing clear up on some of those older titles, be it X-Men Legends or whatever else. I don't know. Just it'd be really nice.
I like Adenton's. How do you say that name? Is it?
I say Adidotune.
Adidotune.
But I don't know if that's right.
I'm going to copy how you
say
it. Ade. Hey, I like the comment. I think as enthusiasts, Game Pass is a no-brainer, correct? The question is how many enthusiasts are there out there? And that's
not enough.
Apparently, what are we at? 25 to 30,000 Game Pass subscribers? That's how many.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, but here's the other part too. Is so like imagine that, and maybe this just isn't the experience anymore.
Remnant 2, I did play that too. Sorry.
When we were kids, you go to GameStop, right, or Toys R Us for us here, in Colorado, like, and then you say, "Dad, I want a Xbox." Okay, well, what game should I get? And you usually, because if you don't know that ecosystem or your kid doesn't know, you ask the worker. You would think that the workers would be like, look, you can buy a game $60, even maybe sale for $40, $50, or you can get Game Pass for 3 months for free, and then also it's $15 a month. What's Game Pass? Oh, well, you get like 300 games. Like, you would think the logical trail there is like, well, this is a Game Pass, dude. You can get all the games you want to play, and yet I feel like that's not happening. Why? That is the question. Why is that not happening more? Because it seems so logical on that.
I bet if they had like back in the day, you'd have like a Xbox rep or a PlayStation rep, Nintendo rep. I mean, that used to be my dream job. I'd kill to be a Nintendo rep still. You kidding me?
Yeah.
So fun and whimsical. I doubt they exist in the ways that we think they do.
Yeah.
And I think like part of it's educating the workforce to tell people about it. Maybe sometimes that job requires people to buy the game, so they're not going to talk about Game Pass in a positive way. It's also when it comes down to advertising, Xbox just doesn't do it, and it's really frustrating. Even when they're like, look at here's our campaign for Hellblade, and it's all on one platform that's dying. It's like, no, man, do something cool. Do something that gets eyes on your product. For the love of God, they dropped a Leviathan axe in London, cool shit like that. Do something weird, but they don't.
Marketing shouldn't be a Times Square 10-minute piece so you can take a picture of it. That's not marketing. I don't know. Hey,
I'll take that. Let's start with that. That's a good start. That's all.
I want commercials. I want promotions where the box is in there.
Yeah.
I do want to comment on Cygnus's chat. Cygnus has been here for a while and clearly a PlayStation gamer, but he's been listening to XEP for a bit, and I really appreciate you being here, Cygnus. They say, I don't have Game Pass. I can't justify paying $200+ and not owning any of it, anything at the end of it. And I don't know that I subscribe to that idea because I don't know what I own digitally anyway. And I haven't put a disc in a console in years. I haven't put a disc, whether it be in a movie or not. And I just don't know that, like, are you owning it if you can't play it? And I just don't have a good thought process there. I feel like Joe's doing the eject button. You got nothing in there?
I got nothing.
Yeah.
I thought I had
my console too. I would say another counterpoint, Luke, would be okay, if you did want to own it, just wait until it's on sale for like $5 and then just buy it at the end. I don't think you're wasting money being on Game Pass and then just buying it down the road if you really want to own the license to the digital game. If that's the case, I'm not about owning my digital media.
Take that
as long
energy.
As it's there and accessible, that's all that matters.
Go to youtube.com/PS Trophy and we're right there with you, buddy. Right there with you.
Actually, and I will say, Cygnus, if you don't know the Trophy Room, great PlayStation content
creator. You absolutely should.
Sincerely. All right, let's take a moment, guys, and talk about some of the games that we've been playing in chat. I'd like for you guys to do the same. I've talked a couple times on XEP about Lords of the Fallen. I've continued to enjoy Lords of the Fallen. I have run into some of the performance issues in the latter half of the game. I don't even know if I'm in the latter half. Let me back that up. Where I am, I'm running into performance issues. I just beat the Hushed Saint, and I'm in that new area. And I have no idea if I'm far along, but I checked my time. I'm 20 plus hours in. And I'm real bad at these games, but I'm enjoying it. And because of Game Pass, I'm not like bummed kind of thing. But I'm really enjoying Lords of the Fallen, and I would recommend it, particularly in a time where people are like, "Oh, I'm playing Elden Ring and finished it." If you need more of that fix, there's several Souls-likes in Game Pass. And I think Lords of the Fallen is a respectable entry into the genre, but it is not Elden Ring quality, right? Like I'm not arguing that it is, because Elden Ring to me is one of the best games ever made, if not the best. It's up there to my top.
Luke, are you sure you don't want to get in on the Elden Ring talk? Because I'm about to talk to Joe for like the next 45 minutes about Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree. So are you sure you don't want to jump in?
No, I want you guys to enjoy talking about it, because I'm not ready to enjoy that one, right? Like it will strike.
You need to
I'm
be
not
ready.
ready.
You need to be ready.
You're in for a treat.
How long is Lords of the Fallen, Luke? Like how many hours are you into it?
He just said what, like
I'm 20 in.
Yeah.
20 in.
But as far as like how long the game is, there are people who've probably beaten the game in 20. That's just not me. It's not going to be me. I'm very slow. I die because I get impatient, or because I'll go grind the same area to build my vitality and stuff. And there are mechanics in the game that I don't understand. I've yet to cast a spell because I don't know how in Lords of the Fallen. And I'm just like, all right.
Jose, it's funny you ask. I'm on the Xbox app right now, and according to How Long to Beat, which is listed right here, the main story is about 30 hours, main plus extra 45, completionist 94, all styles 42 hours there.
Well, because I know, and I don't know if Save the Game is Kevin or Sam right now. I know Sam just finished it. If it is Sam, you can let us know what your final time was. But it looks great. How hard is it the same difficulty level of Elden Ring, or is it easier, harder?
No, much easier.
Okay.
Much easier, yeah.
The world is harder, in my opinion, than when I put 180 or 170, 80 into Elden Ring. The world of Lords of the Fallen is much harder to deal with. The bosses are cakewalk by comparison.
Got it.
But because of me and the way I think and function in games, like I have to still focus a tremendous. Like Elden Ring was an abnormality for me, and I had to focus tremendously, but I was enjoying it. Like when I go in, and Joe jokes me because it's the tism, but it is like I go in, I was listening to Long. I was watching stuff that was all swords and shields and movies. I was there for Elden Ring. I get into it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not into Lords of the Fallen.
He's method.
Very much so. Annoyingly so. I don't enjoy it, but I am.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would like to say, I want to bring comment to this one right here. Wilfrey Rosario writes in, remember PlayStation gamers say buy their games, yet the wall on GameStop determined that was a lie. Let me tell you something about GameStop. The amount of Funko Pops that line the walls. All right, Wilfrey, are you going out there? Which Funko Pops you buy this week, brother? You know, how many t-shirts that are there for $1 now? So many bullshit collectibles.
And I think we all worked at GameStop one way or another. If not,
God, don't support that. Don't support that.
That's a terrible company. Terrible company.
Go to a mom and pop shop.
They don't care about games at all.
They don't care about games at all. Go to a mom and pop shop, support them, trade your games in there. At least you'll know that it's going to an actual good cause, you know? Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to say it just gave me just war flashbacks of having to push Funko Pop buy 2 get 3 deals. Jesus. I've been playing Balatro. If you guys don't know, this is a poker roguelite, and you might say, Joe, that sounds like a terrible time. It sounds like a terrible time. There's no way I could describe this game and it sound appealing other than it is some of the most fun I've had this year. It is a terrific roguelite. And even as someone who doesn't even like card games, the max I'll go is a blackjack or a go fish. Balatro teaches you poker very simply. And the mechanics of it, just the things they throw in, is so damn good. Go play Balatro. It's only $15. It goes back to what we were saying earlier. Games that people are picking up are the $15, $10, $20, $30, $40 games right now. go play Balatro. That said, boys, I want to talk to you guys about
Let's talk
Elden Ring
about
Shadow
it.
of
Yeah,
the
let's
Erdtree.
do it.
Well,
That's
hold
what
on
I've
real
been
quick
waiting
before you
for.
do, Jose, because I know you're going to go in. Jose, did you want to shout out a game before they start?
No, he's been talking about.
I'm happy to talk about Elden Ring. I started Still Wakes the Deep. I think I'm like halfway through. I will need to finish it.
Save that for our
show.
show.
I heard
Jose.
you and
want to
Bubble
hear
Boy
Jose.
talking about
Yeah,
it.
let's save it for when Bubble Boy's here.
Just very quickly, I am enjoying what I've seen so far. I'm a horror guy. The horror is like my favorite genre, even though I get scared of it. It's not that I'm not scared. Like I play in the dark at night with headphones and stuff. I like that experience. So I'll talk more about it when I finish it. Other than that, I played a little bit of Warzone. I taught my girls. We played Stardew Valley for the first time. Like I taught them how to play on their iPads because that's the world they want to play in. And so like literally they were behind me right here playing on their iPads. I was playing on my screen and just farming out in Stardew, dude. Such a peaceful, nice game. It's a very stark contrast to like horror games. But other than that, man, no, just making shorts and content, man, in my free time.
Have you tried Disney Dreamlight Valley with them or no?
I have tried that. Penelope, my oldest, she kind of liked it. They do Minecraft, and they are amazing in Minecraft. Like that's not my world, but to watch them be like, I got to go make this thing and get these 6 cubes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be over here for killing people. You guys have fun. So Stardew is something I feel like we can play together because I tried playing Minecraft, and I felt like probably when my parents were playing Mario Kart with me as a kid, not just like stomping them with green shells. So that's it, man. Nothing else. Just enjoying.
Dude, I'm not letting my kid win at all.
No,
they're not letting.
You say that.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna let them win.
Session.
Listen, each generation's getting softer and softer.
I don't
know
disagree
why?
with you on that.
They're like, bullying. No, bullying helps. You should bully in school.
Well,
you should learn to be the bully. You should learn to fight a bully.
You have to get some hope, though.
Let's hear what Nis has to say.
No. You shouldn't be getting a trophy just because you were in a part of the team.
I don't give him a trophy, but I don't stomp them into the ground at 7.
No, you should be like, kid, you kind of suck at pitching. Give it to Gerald. This guy's got an arm for days.
This is true. This is true. Remember, everybody, I brought Joe on as a guest, and I showed him my son's Xbox artwork.
That's a shitty drawing.
And that's exactly what Joey said about my son. My 6-year-old son made
How old's your kid?
And he said that's horrible. He's 6, Joe. He just
It looks like he drew that with his less dominant hand.
You hear this, you guys? Grayson!
Yeah, get him on. He needs a little hit of reality, this kid. Drawing sucks.
Oh my god.
Saying. These kids are getting soft. We gotta beat them in video games. That's where it starts. Anyway.
That's my son, Joe.
That's a PlayStation fan for you right there. Let me tell you that.
These ponies. Hey, I will say before I got that PDP guitar. My wife and I are playing the heck out of Rock Band.
Yeah.
It's been so much fun, and I'm getting better. Like I all my songs are on medium now, and I can dabble into hard, which I didn't. I'm surprised how much I'm liking Rock Band. I was like, oh, this is what people enjoyed 10 years ago. Okay, but my wife
never played it before.
I never enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I never enjoyed it because everybody was better, and they really bullied me, guys. They really bullied me because I wasn't good, and so I just.
Your mother and I like to play DJ Hero. So I've been playing Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree. What a remarkable time, man.
Joe, get this. After I beat it,
oh my god, yeah.
Started a second character.
I've been debating.
Went all the way through. I'm already back. I soloed. My goal was to solo every main boss, and I successfully did it.
Okay.
No spirit ashes, except for Millennia. I was like, I'm not putting in the time right now. I probably could have used a shield, but I was like, I'm ready to keep moving on. I sent Jose earlier. I finally beat the I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who doesn't know, but the final 2 bosses, not anyone who cares, of Elden Ring. Guys, does anyone want to guess this? In the past 2 weeks, according to Steam, how many hours I've put into Elden Ring?
It's disgusting.
Take a guess.
82. Oh. I'm guessing high.
What an idiot.
I have put in around like 95 hours into Elden Ring in the past 2 weeks. What game of a generation. I heard Joe bragging about. Can you believe this, Jose? Joe said he beat the General Gaius or whatever his name is on the pig. First try.
Joe is a GD liar.
He said first. And he said, I think he said no summons. He's like, oh, well, I got the platinum in Sekiro, so I knew how to take this fight.
Yeah, he fights just like the first boss.
So hot. There's no way on. That's insane.
I mean, that's impressive. I got Rolana, whatever the sword.
That took me a few tries.
That I got her on my third try
with the summon.
With no summon.
With the summon.
Anyway,
you beat it. You beat it. It doesn't. See, the one thing that I hate about the Souls community is like, if you
I know.
Tier, it's like, no, you beat it.
That's ridiculous.
I don't give a shit. I don't care about like the.
Yeah.
And I used no. You beat the boss. You want to go in with your little diaper and the pot on your head and beat the boss that way?
Yeah.
God bless. If you want to use a mimic tier, go for it.
Final boss with the shield and the pokey.
That's what I did to do it.
Me too, Joe.
He's a bullshit boss with bullshit mechanics. Yeah.
So that's what I'll just. If you want to listen to us talk about Elden Ring,
it's like you are cursing a lot, man.
I'm sorry.
We've been talking about Elden Ring on Nerd Chat and everybody's been talking about. We're gonna probably talk about it next week because I've already got a great topic, by the way. But I just want to say the thing that we were talking about, Joe, is how much we love the fact that the game can give you so many different experiences and so many ways to alter the experience how you want it. So many different weapons you can attack a boss. Spirit ashes you can attack the boss with. The Erdtree fragments. The different routes to get to certain people. You can skip people. Oh my Jose! What is going on over there, Jose?
My bad. I was typing in the chat and I was on the soundboard. I'm so sorry, guys.
Jose just slapped his soundboard. All my audio listeners are like, they're cussing a lot this week.
What's so sorry, guys.
I was just trying to say, Joe, is that's why Elden Ring is a game of the generation. You can make it as difficult or as easy or somewhere in between as much as you want, and it's so rewarding in so many different ways. And so, go ahead.
No, yeah, that's why, like, when people are like, it's too hard, it's like, dude, they give you so many opportunities to make that as easy as you really want it to be. The only thing that, like, Shadow of the Erdtree does that base Elden Ring doesn't is that, like, you can't easily skip to the next boss if you're stuck on something. It's very much classic, like, Dark Souls way of, like, nope, this is the boss. You have to kind of beat him or else it's going to be significantly harder this way through. The scattered tree fragments make the game a lot more tolerable. I would always say just I think 3 to 5 is a good base to start. And just, that means just explore the world around you and gather. I think it scales upwards, but in the beginning it's only 1, then it's 2, then it's 3, and so on. And it boosts your resistance and your damage to things. And so it just means go out there and explore. There's a lot of them all over the place. And so for me, I adored Shadow of the Erdtree. It's even better than the base game. I think the map's better than the base game. It's phenomenal. It's some of the best boss fights in Elden Ring, for sure, are in there, with the exception of the last boss, because I just think he's
poo-poo caca.
He's not a good
boss.
Joe, and that's not just because I'm like bad at him. Again, like as someone who put in the hours to beat the Owl Father boss in Sekiro, the final boss in Elden Ring.
Ishin's the worst. He was the worst. I hated that. Oh.
So that all said, it is it's like the greatest hits of a already great band. It's like the Beatles' greatest hits almost. It's so good. And it's like you found out they had another album. You know, it's like before Yono came into it. Yeah. It's just, man, it's phenomenal. It really is.
You know what's also cool, Joe? So like a shout out to Bacon, our one of our other members that couldn't be here today. So Bacon played the final boss so many times, and he literally to the point where he's like, I quit. Like I'm walking away from this game. And then this isn't like a bragging thing, but I beat the boss the next day, and then Bacon was like, I can't do it now. I have to beat him because I'm not going to be the one that does it. And so me and Dan helped him. And so like literally that night, we both got summoned in, and just for funsies, we dressed in the same armor. And like it took us still like 15 tries, the 3 of us together, but then we finally beat it. And it was like a super fun thing. And honestly, it felt Like I love Warzone and I love the experience of playing with our friends. Like that's such a fun experience. But outside of that game, I feel like I don't get that experience. We're all just playing single player games. And I felt like Elden Ring gave that to us. It gave us this moment of like triumph together and like a super fun memory. And I just don't think a lot of games get to do that in today's world. And it's such a great game. So like if you've never played it, MCAN, I see you in the chat. Check it out, man. I know you hear all these
let
things
us jump with you
about it being hard, and it is hard, but it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be something where you have to learn.
But they give you the tools to.
They do, and
yeah,
don't be ashamed.
Yeah, so like
Sekiro, Joe, is hard. That game's hard.
It's difficult. Yeah, no. When it comes to like, like, should they add an easy mode? No. First off, it's up to the developer first and foremost.
Yeah.
But in the sake of From Software, the way that their games work is that they are the best at that invisible hand that guides you, and you feel that sense of discovery, and that you feel like you learned that yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joe, that's a great point. You have to put in the effort.
If you just go out there and fight the first boss, the first little mini boss, the Black Guard or whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah.
Black Jail. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got him on my third try the second time around.
Go to hell. He's a piece of trash. He's not there to be beaten. He's there to show you, come back later, akin to some other bosses in that game. It's like, just come back to him later when you're leveled up.
Can I jump in on one aspect?
Yeah.
So I do not do Souls games, right? And do you remember you and Ains and I having conversations about Elden Ring where I talked about the onboarding is bad?
Yep.
And I maintain Elden Ring does not do a good job onboarding, but what it does do when you calm down and take your time with Elden Ring and pay attention, that's, I think, what you're saying is like Elden Ring talks to you. It gives you the clues, the hints, it gives you everything you need, but you have to speak its language. You can't walk into a new part of the world you've never been to a group of people who speak a different language and just presume that they're going to understand you. No, you have to take time and learn what it is they're saying and saying to you verbally and non-verbally. And Elden Ring does a very good job of that. It does not onboard handhold anybody.
If you know this.
No.
I went to Italy and I said, speak English, beat you Second World War, Grandpa. Beat you.
And Joe was
Second
deported
World
after
War.
6 hours.
And he's back, guys. He's not allowed
I
to go
win,
in.
you lose English. Something like that.
But yeah,
Where's
Elden
the
Ring
tree with Mussolini? Sorry.
Good God.
Anyone that doesn't know their history is like, who's that? Oh man, but that's something that I think Dan was saying. You were saying is like the game does give you everything you need. At least it did. Not Erdtree. I haven't played that, but I'm saying in general. And I would imagine Erdtree is more of the same.
It is.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, Joe, I learned. Do you know how the correct pronunciation of the Shadow Tree fragments is Shadow Tree? That's the Shadow Tree fragments. That is the correct pronunciation. Learn that. On the YouTube. Turns out you can learn some stuff there.
All right, I get it. I think actually the onboarding in Shadow of the Erdtree is not good.
I agree.
Yeah,
no. I disagree though. They literally tell you right as you walk out. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Here's a fragment. This is what you need to get to level your character up. Like I don't remember that in the base game telling you anything like that. Pop it up.
So
right away.
They do tell you immediately once you enter the DLC. Hey, listen, it's a lot harder. There's these 2 things you need to make it easier. But what I would have liked them to do is put that first fragment in the first town that you walk into.
Yeah.
So that you feel like you discovered it. Though it's off the beaten path and it's pretty easy to find. It's still
even
off
at the first
path.
sight of grace, even. I mean,
exactly. The first sight of grace, like give folks the opportunity to go, oh, that's what that is. And then socket it into your character.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, so this is what I need to make the game a tad bit easier.
But at the same time, Joe, it's not like the characters or the people who are playing this had to have had a character to beat 2 optional bosses.
I mean, true.
Even get to the
true.
So
I think that's a great argument. Yeah.
Just shout out to From Software, Luke. You're gonna love
fantastic
it.
game.
Just
fantastic game.
It is
phenomenal,
Luke. It's phenomenal. The level design and artwork is absolutely stunning. Negative, I think we can agree, Joe. We talked about this. You get a little lost. That is one thing where it's a little too confusing, the different levels. Like literally, Luke, there's this central castle that you go to. There are 5 exits out of there. 5 ways out that take you to new areas of the map. You're like, this is where I am now. And you're like, whoa. And it really blows your mind. It's just From Software's level design is on a whole nother level. I don't know. And I'm pretty sure Ains tweeted about that too and mentioned that. And I wanted to ask you, Joe, do you want them to focus more to go back to something like that with like more traditional straight out, a straight line layout like a Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne, or do you like the semi-open world?
Let them do whatever they want to do.
Good answer.
They want to make a DDR game, make a DDR game. I think you're right. Level design is both a blessing and a curse, because like there was like this one time where like I was keeping on going down and down into this cave path, jumping on like pillars, crossing this like this river, and then I make it to one of the most beautiful areas in the game, and then I jump down another cave and I'm in this weird catacomb, and I'm like, this is now the most beautiful area in the game. And then I fight like this guy that's on a horseback with a huge cleaver, and he's a giant douche. But like even that arena is beautiful. Like every area is just stunning in its own right. The bosses that you fight are challenging, for the most part fair. And yeah, it's just if I could make this game of the year, I would. Truthfully,
I hate that. I hate that that's a conversation. I think we got to find a way to clean up the award system, because I do not think it's a game, and it can't be game of the year. It can't be a game. No, Luke, no. See, you had to have a game to play this, and that's the problem. And like, I'm not knocking quality. It's not a question of quality. It's a question of like definition. But FromSoft has a cadence of release that feels faster than most other AAA, and they're award winning. Yeah. Why do we think that is? Because we had a whole conversation about how long it takes for games and content and hardware to release.
Did you talk about this? Because they reuse their assets. They
reuse their assets. They don't give a shit how, pixel dense the characters are. They reuse assets, and they use
their mouths don't move when they speak. Like
exactly, they're like, gamers really don't like.
But Elden Ring's one of the most beautiful games I've ever played.
It is. The art direction's insane too.
Yeah.
So we don't care there, but the puddles in Spider-Man 2, a problem. The
lack of gameplay in Hellblade 2.
So it's like, what do you expect when you play a From Software game? What are you expecting? What do you expect when you play a Sony first-party game? Two totally different things. And also, it's the console war element that fuels that like Puddlegate, whatever new controversy there is with Xbox. It's always a console war mentality that's fed, Yeah. And
one thing I noticed consistently, that the gaming space on socials, which is not the gaming space at large, consistently mad about something, whether it's DEI, whether it's reused animations, whether it's, is this a game? Can you use a summon or not? Like, I don't have the energy to be angry past a certain point about some stuff. I just don't have it. I just don't have it. Live and let live. I used every tool possible to play and enjoy Elden Ring.
As you should. That's why they're there.
And exactly. One more thing to add on to that, just really quickly with Shadow. They're giving you things to level up your Shadow Ashes, which is telling you you're going to need to use these. You need to level these up as well. Use these available assets to you to help you out with this game.
And I would argue the one thing that you just spoke about, Luke, of like, the conversations around games is always so negative. People that cover games, and myself included, I'm not innocent in this. We also have to stop giving those voices the oxygen and or we have to defeat them with just pure logic and not this fanboyism. Because if I real talk, how many months is it going to be until we see the Paul Tassi article? 90% of Elden Ring's, consumers have
well, Joe, that's never going to happen. It's Elden Ring. Let's
exactly. That's true.
The single player game,
right? It's like, and then when you see like articles about like, some incel that is upset at that, characters partially clothed in Stellar Blade. It's like, we don't need to hear about that. Stop talking about them. Stop bringing them up. Stop making them martyrs. Stop giving them oxygen. Stop giving them the platform. You highlight them, and then trolls gather around them, and then they get engagement, and means they're pushed up more into the algorithm. And that means then people that see the media as this evil thing have this alternative that they may not even believe fully, but they go over to them going, "You're the only alternative I got."
Right.
So I'm your sword and shield. It's even outside of games, oddly enough. Could you believe it? That like you give these toxic people a chance, you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile.
Yeah.
Gotta stop with those arguments. That's why when we hear about like Wukong or whatever, the thing, you have to beat it with like, here's the actual truth about that, right? Like here's the actual truth of like, why Helldivers is at the point where it's at right now. It's just saying, hey, here's what the facts are, period. We're not going to talk about it anymore, or just strictly ignoring it, because I think that's one of the biggest problems with games right now is like I see so many people leaving because they don't like the quote unquote discourse around games. Well, guys, I'm gonna bleed myself out here. Change the discourse. You don't like what you're hearing. Guess what? A, don't listen, mute them, but also echo what you want to talk about. Like, yeah.
I heard your rant about that on Trophy Room. Like I said,
I just want to throw a punch.
And I'm so glad you brought it up though, Joe, because I saw Actman. He tweeted out something about Erdtree, and he's like, "I really love this. This is amazing, but the level design isn't as good. There's too much empty space. Like you just have to point out some random stupid ass comment about how the world is too open. It's like, do these people even enjoy games? Like,
well, he also says he hard on,
I'm just saying, and I was just like, dude, like, do these people, like you said, even enjoy playing these games? And you're right, I gotta just mute him and not follow him. And it's perfect. Like, dude, can we just enjoy Shadow of the Erdtree, like this incredible piece of DLC?
Or can we actually have actual critical discourse without us just going, what does the algorithm say? Like the same thing for every Star Wars fan. Like Star Wars theory is like the worst person in the goddamn world, and like every time they highlight him, look at what he has to say about the Acolyte or whatever. It's like, I don't care. I muted him a while ago. You should too, and like stop putting tabs on him.
Why can't we have more people like Xbox Expansion Pass, Luke Lohr, the Trophy Room, the Nerd Chat, Season Gaming? We need to, let's start raising each other up, guys. Bobby Baden-Bowden. Luke, take it away.
That's right. Well, I was going to say we did have some listener questions, but I'm going to hold on to them on account of the fact that there's a major storm rolling through.
Oh,
and really? I'm terrified that I'm going to lose power because I can hear the thunder, see the lightning. I'm like, maybe we should go ahead and end this one. So I will say thank you to the incredible chat that's been here. We've been 25 plus for the majority of the show over on YouTube. Thank you. Really appreciate you all being here and hanging out with us. I saw so many of your comments. I do want to thank Red Beast, Todd Oxtra, and Clint Coombs, as well as Nick Johnson, Kevin Ainsworth, and Ellery Woods Parker III. All gave me questions in chat. I'm going to save them for next week on account of this storm. I'm on account of the storm. But I want to thank the Nerd Chat, first of all, both Jose and Dan for being here. You guys are awesome for coming in, taking over on account of Logan being away for his birthday. Happy birthday to him. Jose, tell people where to find you on socials, my friend.
You can find me at Chipotle Bear or Chipotle _ Bear, depending on the platform. Always feel free to reach out. I just want to say a huge thank you, of course, to Luke and to Joe. We're very aware that we are the small show here, and but both Luke and Joe and Kyle and Logan and Ains and everybody has always been super kind. Truly, absolutely. That's why we love this community, dude. We love being with you guys because we love games. We love playing games. We think games are fun. They should be fun. And the reality of this is like we all have jobs outside of this, right? This isn't like I wish I was Colin Moriarty where I was making 6 figures doing podcasts, and maybe one day, but the reality is we do this for the love. So we really appreciate your support, Luke. We're on the run to 500 subscribers so that we can monetize on YouTube, and we're getting there little by little, man. So if this is the first time seeing us and you want to check us out, we'd appreciate it. But if you don't, that's totally cool. XEP is an amazing podcast. Yes. So is Trophy Room. Thank you guys for having us here today, man.
It was a pleasure. Dan, where can people find you, my friend?
You can follow me at Daddy Diwali across all social media. I'm on Xbox at Daddy Diwali, PSN Daddy Diwali, Steam Daddy Diwali. That's where I'm at. And again, like Jose said, Luke, thank you so much. Joe, always a pleasure to podcast with you. You guys literally are just one of the friendliest, best communities on the internet. I guess Seasoned Gaming as well. They're cool too. But realistically, guys, this is just so much fun. I'm so glad I've met you. I'm so thankful that you've welcomed us into your community, and I look forward to enjoying games with you for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say a quick shout out to Dave. I will be on Web Dave's show tomorrow night, 7 p.m.
Sweet.
Looking forward to that.
Shout out to the chat, killing it today.
Yeah, you guys are crushing it. And I saw people saying they were going to check out the nerd chat as well. It's amazing. I love seeing that. And that leads me, of course, to my favorite PlayStation content creator in the world, Mr. Babbitt, Joseph Moran. What you got, brother?
Did you just tear up there, Joe?
He's wiping the sweat away.
It was an actual compliment. I just want to say that Luke is scared of low water, which just proves how soft this generation's getting. But listen, I plug my stuff all the time. Where you can find the Trophy Room PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players, where each and every Thursday, me and my best friend Kyle talk about the greatest and latest in all things PlayStation over on youtube.com/PS Trophy Room and podcast services, the Trophy Room PlayStation podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast services. But I don't want to plug, myself at Mr. Babbitt on X. I just want to give a shout out to my friend Ainsley Bowden. He wanted to get here as fast as he could. He couldn't. So I want to just plug where you can find Ainsley Bowden at project2025.org.
Idiot.
On the top of the website, he is the number one contributor.
I'm going to go to this website.
I think it's
project2025.
I just spit all of that seltzer. Oh my god.
So, good guy over there. Good AIDS. He has a good, strong moral compass. So yeah, that's all I got.
I just spit everything. Oh my god. God, I hope.
Thanks for having me, Luke.
Luke needs a new PC now because he just spit all over his mother.
Seriously. Oh my god, I cleaned that up. Oh man. Well, I definitely have to put a filter on for this episode, Joe. Thank you. God,
no problem.
Great. Oh gosh. All right, everybody. Thank you for supporting small creators. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care.